Hey there, kids. Sorry about that. Yeah, no lead up today. Just we're just going for it. We're here. Fuck it. Whatever. Sorry. Was on a call. Lost track of time. We're here now. All good. No worries. So, fuck a duck. Anyway, welcome to the Child of Mecha live stream. It's Friday. Thankfully. Oh my god. What a week. What a week. Anyway, yeah, just motherfucker. Anyway, had to take the call. Sorry. Here we go. Shit. Let's regroup and get to work here. Yeah. All right. So yesterday we did some really good work. We got the top of the shoulder concocted and everything. Cleaned that up a little bit yesterday and all that. It's looking really good. We're gonna start scribing the front of the shoulder today and get this thing rolling here. So. Let's say hi to everybody. I know more, Julius and, Charles is with us over on Twitch. Gentlemen, what's going on? Good seeing you. Sorry again for being late. Motherfucker. Anyway, Dallas is with us. Life, Death, what's going on? There we go. Little Mecha Army representation from Charles over there. Thank you, Charles. Appreciate you, buddy. Julia says, if you need to vent, we are here to support you, buddy. Oh man, I know, but god damn it, like, just stupid shit. You know what I mean? Just dumbass shit. That's all it is. It's just dumbass shit. And mind you, I'm good. It's just, you know, I lost track of time, and that's what pissed me off. And, you know, it was a call I basically had to take. So, yeah. Bleh. Right? Fucking duck. Anyway. But no, it's all good. It's all good. So, all right. Let's get in our happy place. Let's go camera 2, yeah? Here we go. All right, so here's where we're at, right? Went ahead and got the shoulder kind of cleaned up yesterday. So that's looking really, really good there. I don't know if this is gonna get, come on, yeah. A little bit. You can see it a little bit there. Where's my pointer? Jesus, jumped up Christ. Anyway, so, all right, so yeah, okay, so that's a good angle right there. You can see this this little half round. See how I scribed those lines in, right? So the ends, like I said, will be kind of like a gray-ish standard, you know, color. And then that middle part there will be kind of the light, and I'll paint that like red or green or some color, I don't know. But that's kind of what I'm talking about in terms of that kind of simulated light, right? And then, you know, just cleaned up those fins, outline scribed those. Those are nice and clean looking now, really good. So, yeah, that's looking right. That's looking right. So here's where we're at with the shoulder. Now, this is going to be a bit of a conundrum here. Because yesterday when I outlined this, I used the 1.5 millimeter scribing jig, right? And I just quickly did that, right? But the thing of the matter is that this is all kind of compound angles and everything. So it's not exactly conducive to using the scribing jig, simply because if you go by the angles, let's see, I started just lightly scribing. Yeah. Okay, cool. So this here, this length is just slightly over 1.5 millimeters, which is not a big deal, but as you start to get in some of these other angles, especially this little surface here, we're going to start running into anomalies, right? And it's not going to be completely even. So what we need to do is take a drink first. Oh, I wish that was a little bit harder, I'll be honest with you. So what we need to do is we need to run some scribing tape here. That's our only alternative at this point to ensure that we have the proper distances from the actual edge, right? So with that, I'm gonna pull out the good old black Dymo, and what we're gonna do is I'm gonna show you how I cut this stuff down into thin strips for this particular procedure, right? So let's see, what do we need here? Probably about 2 centimeters is probably going to be the longest that we'll need. Yeah, about 2 centimeters. All right, cool. And then, so, all right, cool. All right, let's do this. I will show you one of the beauty parts here about using the black Dymo tape, right? Because you can cut it on the chopper. And that's one of the old school things that I like about this, is that it's rigid and it's backed with a film, right? So it doesn't stick to itself. So that's really important. Now, let's see, we'll just kind of arbitrarily set this right around 2 centimeter or 20 millimeter and lock that in, get that ruler out of there, and then now we're gonna run this, flatten it out, and then pop. And there we go. A nice little piece of tape at a right angle, mind you, at a right angle. That's important. So now, get our 1, 2, 3 blocks back in here. This is kind of where the magic starts to happen, right? So we can use our T-square. Let's get that over there. We can use our T-square here to strip this down into little pieces, right? So hang tight, watch this. All right, so now we're gonna need all right, let's go this way. It'll probably be easier here. Oh, okay. So there we go. That's what I need right there. All right. So now what I can do is come over 1.5 millimeter, set a mark on that side, spin this around as the ruler flips up into my face, and right there. Set the mark there, and now we have 1.5 millimeters in from both sides. So now we can press this down into place, set our ruler at the mark on both sides, and now we have a really nice little test bit, or a nice little place here to cut this. And I'm just making light passes, just scoring the tape, and I'm holding it down with my 2 fingers here, right? I'm really pressing down, and I'm just running the knife up against. Alright, good deal. And there we are. Alright, good deal. So, we've got our 1.5 millimeter strip. Now, just to make sure, you little shit. Not great. Not great. Fuck that. Alright. Incroyable. Alright. Let's try a different method here. Sorry, you guys. I'm off my game right now. I'll be honest with you. Kind of off my game, but we'll get it back. We'll get it back. Alright, let's try this. This might be better for us here. Alright, pop the Dymo tape right up against the edge. Have the scribing jig right up against here. Push that in. Nice, secure. Alright, that should be 1.5. That should be. It's much cleaner. That's for sure. There we go. That's better. For fuck's sakes. Alright, let's keep doing this. Keep cutting some strips of this, because we're going to need several. Okay. There we are. And then these should be a consistent width. Yep, and they are. Perfect. That's what we're going for. That's what we need. We need the consistency. Alright. Lock that in. go. Consistent strip every single time. Colin's scribing jig comes in clutch. Alright, I think this may be the last strip we get out of this piece, but let's see. Let's make sure that this is bumped up to the back. Pull down on the scribing jig and just lightly cut it. A few passes. There we are. Jolly good. Alright. So yeah, this last kind of remaining strip is much, much thicker. I don't know if we're going to get anything out of it. It may be too thin to cut here, but let's give it a shot, shall we? Let's give it a shot. All right. Yeah, I think we can get another strip out of this thing. Yeah, so we got a super duper tiny little strip here. Well, you know, you never want to throw away nice little strips like this, so I have this kind of container of scrap pieces of Dymo, so I pop it in there. Can't hurt, right? Can't hurt. All right. Real quick. Dallas says you can't go wrong with missiles. Just add more and more missiles. You can never have too many missiles. Just saying. Nice. 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 Mikey's with us. Hello, everyone. Mikey, how you feeling, buddy? Just a health check-in. How you feeling? Let's see. Judo is with us over there. He says, morning, everyone. Happy Friday. Good shit right there. Let's see. Oh, here. Nope, I skipped one. Julia says, I wonder if Colin, hi Craig, could design scribing jigs that are at an angle instead of 90 degrees to accommodate for parts that have a compound or angled edges like those. Could be useful. Yeah, and I kind of get what you're saying. Kind of, so the profile would be like at a, not a 90 degree, but like at an angle. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. Simply because you run into that not very often. You know what I mean? It's usually, it's usually like one-off things, kind of like this. You know, and for the mass majority of applications, the scribing jigs work perfectly. But it's just the front shoulder armor that has all these weird compound angles and everything. So that's kind of where the challenge in running just the straight up scribing jig comes into play. So once we get, you know, some tape on here, problem solved. So yeah. Thruxt is over there on Twitch. They say, hello, what you working on? We are working on a master grade Hyaku Shiki, highly customizing it and everything. Right now we are working on scribing up the front of the shoulder. Yeah, so we're running into some issues in terms of, you know, how to properly go about this, but we got it. We got it at this point. So welcome and thank you for watching. Hell yeah. Let's see, Bill's over here on YouTube. He says, wait, Colin's scribing jig will get me consistent stripping every time? Sweet. Need to get them before next bachelor party. Oh, there we go. There we go. Eris is with us over there on YouTube. He says, hello, Tim in chat. What's going on, dude? He says, yeah, those are for creating an angled scribe. What I mean, support the wall. Yeah. All right, Michael Dawson says, doing better, but still no motivation to work on anything. I get it, dude. Like, when you're not feeling good, all you want to do is just sit and be still and not be bothered. I totally understand that. I 100% understand that. So, dude, yeah. I take the weekend. Hope you feel better, bro. I really do. Let's see. Charles is bringing Thrust up to speed there. So thank you, Charles. Appreciate you, buddy. Let's see. Juno says, I think just a longer jig might be the solution instead of making an angle for every possible angle. A 90 degree could be useful to go over a piece that might be 30 degrees or even a chamfer. Oh, absolutely, 100%. Yeah. And mind you, I do that all the time. It doesn't have to be a perfect 90 degree angle. I'll go over, you know, an angle and everything. But like I said, the issue with this is that all of this is compounded angles, right? Because if you look at even like the profile of this thing, like, let's see, like right here, like this is not a 90 degree. This is not 90 degrees to this surface, right? And then you've got it tapers down. It slopes down. So all of the angles are fighting against each other, basically, for you know, it's all fighting against us. So using tape will eliminate the vertical angles, right? So then what we can do, and I'll show you here real quick, is take the strip of tape and then align this with the edge of, you know, whatever piece that we're scribing here, right? And then that will get us a consistent scribe all the way around. And that's what we're kind of chasing, is that consistent width all the way around. And that needs to register from the top angle, right? The scribing jigs would not get us there. Well, I take that back. They could, but we would need like contortionist like dexterity to hold the scribing jigs, and you know, I would need much smaller fingers than these, right, to properly hold you know, the jigs in place and everything. So you know, one of those things. It's a challenge that we just need to overcome at that point, and that's, you know, that's what we're doing here at this point. So, and also too, we can lay down multiple pieces, so we can find our edge way easier as well. So, you know, it makes life a little bit easier there, rather than relying on, you know, the pencil marks, because you also have to think that the pencil lead itself has width to it, and that's also going to be, it's, you know, it's going to work against us a little bit. It's a good guide, don't get me wrong, but the thickness of it isn't always the perfect indication of where your line is going to go down. So that is important. All right. So get this first piece laid down, because this right here is our longest edge that we have to scribe in. All right. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Good, 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 good. All right. So what I actually went ahead and did is I actually scribed in this long line last night just to see, and that's kind of why I was just like, oh man, the scribing jigs are not going to be the perfect solution for us. We need to kind of pivot and go with something else, and that's, you know, that's what I went ahead and did. So, all right. So now let's cut this piece in half because we don't need this whole length of strip. We're going to save that. If anything, this shows you guys just kind of another way to lay out, you know, your scribing and everything. You know, because as nice as scribing jigs are, and they are super nice, sometimes, you know, it's good to not necessarily rely on them in all situations, right? Because they don't necessarily fit the bill in all situations. So that's kind of what we run into sometimes, right? So there you can kind of see how we've got a bit of a corner here. It's a very obtuse angle, but still that's important because we need to be able to know exactly where that corner is, right? And we're gonna just continue to lay down these strips here. And like I said, I'm placing this tape right at the top corner, right? Basically where your eye will register the edge to be, right? That's kind of what we're going for, what we're looking for. Let's see. Where did we leave off here? Michael Dawson says, I still got to work Saturday. Oh, that sucks, dude. I'm sorry, Mikey. Threx says, thanks for letting me know. That's really cool. And I like your stream setup. Thank you. I appreciate that. Well, hang out if you want. And if you've got any questions, feel free to ask. Juno says, Tim, I know you're working on the Shiki, but I wanted to ask. Last night at my bench, I wanted to add a 45-degree angle to the edge of a piece. How would you do that? Okay, so Juno, are you talking about chamfering an edge, or are you talking about like cutting a piece at 45 degrees? Because they're two very, very distinct things. So let me know. Chamfering. Okay, cool. Chamfering an edge. All right, so real quick, you guys, let me show this here. Okie dokie. So now, this is another really good, this is another really good application for scribing jigs, right? Let me show you. Now, this may not work in all situations, and I totally get it, but for larger pieces, this will work, right? So say you want to get a nice 45-degree angle in there. You want to be, well, that's not the, shit, that's not the one I wanted. Where is it? Where is it? Here. There it is. There it is. There's the little guy. The 0.5 millimeter, right? All right. So say you want to get, you've got a nice 90-degree kind of box or piece or whatever, right? And say you really, really want to get an accurate, nice 45-degree angle on this thing. Well, I've got my 0.5 millimeter scribing jig, and I just grabbed this arbitrarily, right? It could be, you know, any width or whatever that you want. Take your pencil, mark right down there. So now you've kind of got that mark right along that edge there, right? And then come back, flip it around, do the same thing to the opposite surface, right? Just like that. Now you have two perfectly spaced parallel lines, and then what you can do is use those as a guide. And if you either scrape or cut or file or whatever down to those lines, you know that's going to be a 45-degree angle every single time, simply because they are equal distance from the hard edge, right? Now obviously you could change the angle by using different distances as well, right? But that's a really easy way to make sure that you have a nice 45-degree angle. And what I do is just kind of, I usually eyeball the angle, because obviously at this scale, 1/100 and smaller, and I mean shit, even 1/60 and 1/48, nobody's gonna pull out a protractor and, you know, see if your angles are exactly 45 degrees. So I eyeball it, and it usually comes out close enough. Let's put it that way, right? So, you know, you've got that little chamfer going. You can see there in the profile, right? And then kind of take your a file or something like that, and just kind of start going in. Keep checking it, and yeah, you'll get there at that perfect 45 degree every single time. Yeah, there you go. So you can kind of see there in the profile, right? And there you are. And that'll get you a perfect 45-degree angle every single time. You're just measuring the distance from the hard edge. Yeah, mark it and you're golden at that point. Yeah, mark it and you're golden. Let's see. Mikey says, last night after work, I only managed one scribe line before my body said, nope, you're done, go to bed. Dude, yeah. Been there and done that, Mikey. I swear. Dude, that's, yeah. Just don't try and push yourself. Just focus on getting better. If you're not popping zinc, get some over-the-counter zinc. Take some of that. That will help speed the process up. Trust me, it works. And honestly, zinc is just a good overall supplement anyways to take, especially for guys. So, yeah. All right. Yeah, Juno says chamfering an edge, chamfering the top edges of a piece. There you go. Thank you. Dude, you're welcome, man. It's just one of those things you kind of pick up, you know. And like I said, with most of these things, like... for instance, yeah, so like on the gun, you know, all of these edges are chamfered down, right? Simply because, you know, there's not many hard 90-degree edges in, you know, the world of like big manufacturing. If anything, at very least, they're, you know, slightly rounded over. Because that can cause, you know, accidents and stuff if it's a really hard 90 degrees. But for the most part, they're chamfered down, right? Especially in your more sci-fi futuristic looks. But, you know, you look at this thing and there's not really going to be a 90-degree edge anywhere on this thing. And I just eyeball it. Just eyeball it. Because like I said, you're dealing with such small scales that nobody's going to be able to tell, you know, unless obviously if you're, you know, really, you know, ham-handed and, you know, can't find a chamfer close enough to 45. But nah, you got this. I think pretty much anybody, you know, trying this can eyeball it and achieve that. So you got it. You got it. All right. So let's get this going here. Now, the next bit that we need here, we're gonna have to cut some other strips here in a little bit after we get these lines set in, but right about there. Now, obviously people use the clear masking or the clear, you know, scribing tape and everything, and it's good stuff. Don't get me wrong. I don't prefer it over Dymo, simply because you can't get the same usability out of it that you can with the you know, the old school embossing tape, right? And what I mean by that is, like, you know, most of those clear scribing tapes aren't backed, you know, with like a peel layer or anything like that, like the Dymo is. So you can't easily go and, you know, shape it to, you know, a specific angle or anything like that, or a specific shape for that matter, right? So like in here, like this right here, this was a piece of Dymo that I shaped and cut at a very specific shape, right? And then what I did was scribed outside rather than the inside of the tape or anything like that. I scribed all around the outside, and I was able to repeat this using the chopper. So like I said, that's why I really like the old school black embossing tape, simply because it's, you know, you can work with it in that way, right? Let's see. PTS is with us. He says, my mom got me Banshee Norn for my birthday. Dude, awesome. PTS, when's your birthday? Or when was your birthday? If it was just recently, then happy birthday. But that's cool, man. That's cool. Mikey says, I've been taking Alka-Seltzer and the meds the doc gave me. Alka-Seltzer? What do you have? I mean, do you have like reflux or anything like that? Like heartburn or something? Man. Yeah. Dude, like I said, Mikey, go get you some zinc just over the counter, right? You can get it. You can get zinc at pretty much any place, any, you know, place that sells like supplements and vitamins and stuff. Start popping that like once a day. Trust me, it'll get you right. Zinc has been shown to lower the symptoms of a cold, and then also reduce the time of said cold, right? So, yeah. Oh, he says, nope, helps with my sinuses, though. I gotcha. Okay. I wasn't understanding what you were saying there first. So, I gotcha. Yeah, dude, trust me, Renee kind of introduced me to the whole zinc thing, and they have that what is it? God, those nasty little those orange things that you let dissolve on your tongue, like cold ease or something like that. I forget what they were called, but they're disgusting. Like it's like sucking on a piece of, chalk or something like that. It's like like, yes, there's some orange flavor, but it is like chalk dissolving on your tongue. It's nasty. But all it is zinc in there. So I just got some capsules, some some supplements of zinc, and it's the same exact thing, and it works the same exact way. No nasty chalk flavor either. So and you take one capsule a day, you're one and done. You can just kind of go about your business. With the coldies shit, you got to do that like every 3 hours, and it's just like, ugh. Nah, not doing it. Not doing it. All right, let's get one more slice down here real quick. Actually, 3 more slices, and then we'll get to scribing the side here of this piece. And this is the thing when it comes to scribing. Layout is gonna take you longer than anything, quite frankly. And that's, you also have to consider that's the same way when it comes to painting too, right? Your layout, your masking tape, all of that, it's going to take way, way longer than the actual act of, laying down paint. So it's just, one of those things. Kind of sucks, but, it is what it is. All right, there we are. Good deal. Let's see. Here we go. Taiga with a pen. I hope I'm saying that right. They say just tuned in and thought you were somehow using zinc for a build modification. I was really curious what the technique you were talking about. Oh man, right? That would be funny as shit. But no, Michael Dawson. He's under the weather and just trying to help a brother out, So yeah. Wait, you're using zinc for builds? That's funny, man. That's funny. All right. Let's lay these last 2 pieces down here, and we're gonna start laying down some actual scribe lines here. All right. Okay. I messed up placement on one of these. Alright, not a problem though, so we can still peel it up. And the other good thing about this black Dymo tape is that it has really, really crazy... Oh, man. Oh. Huh. Okay. Thinking order of operations here, and... Okay, so here we go. This, what I'm about to show you, is another thing to keep in mind. We need to throw those away because we don't need those. All right, so we have our little bit of scribing tape here. Now, what we're gonna do is this. Let's do some freehand cutting here. 45-degree angle, right? right there at the edge. So, or at least close enough to a 45-degree angle. Or not even close to a 45-degree angle, son of a bitch. All right. Let's try that again. Because what I need to do is this this outside line right here that outlines this vent. There's a 45-degree angle drop on both sides that we need to cut in, and that's kind of what I'm chasing at this point. All right. And since we're cutting on the inside of the tape, I had it placed on the outside, so it obstructed the line that we need to be able to cut there. So now I need to be able, all right, get that off of there. All right. Mark that where we need to cut it. Okay, cool. All right, let's see how this looks. I haven't peeled the backing off of this piece yet. I just want to place this kind of dry fit for right this second and see. Okay. Okay, not bad, not bad, not bad. This angle we need to make a little steeper. Okay. Because that wasn't real close to 45. All right, that looks better. That looks better now. Because we're going to have, and this is important because we're going to have some other angles play off of this. There we go. Now we're perfect. Okie dokie. Cool. So now, since we've got this piece shaped, and mind you, you can't do this with the clear tape that doesn't have the backing on it, right? That's important for this particular application. There we go. Does the clear tape make life easier in terms of being able to see through it? Oh shit, yeah. Hell yeah. Absolutely makes life easier, but at the same time, it doesn't necessarily give you the usability in the same way that the old school the old school black stuff does, right? All right, excellent. So there you go. There's our one side laid out, taped up. We're looking good. All right, let's actually get to scribing. We're going to put these cut off pieces back there. We're going to use this to steady our hands, and let's get caught back up here real quick. Enrico's with us. Good afternoon / morning, everyone. Scribing session hype. Hello. Julia says, Tim, I was able to score some rolls of semi-clear Dymo tape that stick well and allow me to see pencil lines or other things below the tape. Interesting. I've never seen the semi-clear Dymo tape before. Is it actually embossing tape, or is it their heat tape? That's interesting. Enrico says, I use Hyaku scribing tape and it sticks really well, but it's rather thick and hard to overlap. Yeah, I mean, this is, mind you, this is embossing tape. This is pretty thick stuff. So, you're not getting perfect overlap every single time, but it just has to be good enough. Mikey says, I seriously thought of buying the high grade Elysius, I think that's how it's pronounced, from Hathaway, just to use as more Chobham armor for my current build. Jesus, Mikey. Spend that money, buddy. Spend that money. All right. So for this, we're going to use 0.15. Okay. And let's go super zoom for this one. Okie doke. So here we go. Let's get this perfect. Okay. So now here we are. All right. So first things first, we're going to go around this way. We're going to go clockwise for this. Now, thing to keep in mind with these little bitty strips is you can't apply too much pressure, or these things will slide and pop on you, because there's not a lot of surface area that we're dealing with here, right? So you got to go super light at first to just, you know, set your line. And you also, one of the main concerns with using little strips like this is the debris that gets in the line, especially at the corners. The corners you got to be really, really careful with. So what I like to do is just set the edges and then worry about depth after we take the tape off, because we're not in a rush. This isn't a race. This is precision, and precision takes time. You know, precision takes time. Okay. Especially these little short lines. These are probably the more annoying lines to scribe, is the really short ones, like this, you know, this down line here from this thing, because it's such a short pass with your chisel. You're not able to really get any sort of momentum or any consistent pressure. So, and also too, the debris from the plastic builds up in this line super easy, simply because it's so short. Alright, this is looking good so far. And see what I mean right here? These little ribbons of plastic, that's the debris that gets caught up in the corner. And that's what you really got to worry about, is because as that builds up, like I've said in the past, it will essentially form a ramp. And if it builds up too much, your chisel will basically ride that ramp up and out of the line and mar the surface and damage the rest of the job. So that, cleaning that debris out of there, whoo, that's super important. Very crucial stuff. All right. That's looking pretty good, but yeah, you can see just these little tiny passes make all of this, right? And that builds up, and that is where it gets kind of sketchy. You got to clean that out of the line. Now, normally, what I would do is just take an old toothbrush to it, right? But right now, with this tape being kind of so delicate, I don't want to run the risk of shifting the tape at all. So yeah, it's a delicate operation all the way around. But once we get this cut in here, man, it'll be so worth it. And I got to do this 3 more times. Obviously I won't do that on stream because, you know, seeing it once is plenty for educational purposes. Simply because you can watch it back again and again and again if you don't get it or ask questions or whatever. But yeah, so I figure what I'll do is do the initial run of, you know, mods or whatever on stream, and then duplicate whatever needs to be done off stream, and that way we'll kind of speed this process up. There we go. This right here, this little section is kind of the most crucial because it's on display. And it's prominent. It's a prominent line because your eye gets called to attention, you know, to this contrasting color that, you know, of the vent and everything, right? So that's why I say that it's prominent to the eye. All right. And also, since this is going to be a clean build, everything will be front and center. So no hiding mistakes with weathering or anything like that, right? So precision and cleanliness is paramount with this build. So that's kind of why I'm just taking my time and being patient. Alright. So like I said, I already scribed this line in here. So that just needs to be brought to depth. Alright, so we've got our initial edges set all the way around this. And obviously that didn't take much time, right? As compared to the layout. The layout took, you know, more time than 3 or 4 times the amount of time that it took to actually scribe this in. And hell, we're taking our time with this too. So that's the importance of good layout. It's just, you know, you get much cleaner, sharper lines, more consistent lines, and just a much better job overall. Come on. Just trying to get that debris out of the corner there. There we are. All right. Very good. All right, cool. All right. So we got that. Let's continue around this part here. Let's get... Come on, you. Come on. There we go. Get that piece. Now, see this compound angle right in here, right in this little area. This was one that I was more worried about because it's steeper, and since it's an inside angle, much harder for the scribing jigs to lock into place. Ah, come on, you. Actually, I'm gonna spin this guy around and go from this edge. I think that'll make life a little bit easier on us. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, and the good part, if the piece of tape is overhanging the edge a little bit, you can just use a flat edge and push that back into position. And that's now, you know, perfectly aligned with the edge there. So that's awesome. All right. So now, one thing that everybody's is going to tell you not to do is don't reuse your tape. Don't reuse your tape. Man, fuck that. If it's got some stick in it, I'm reusing this thing. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to spin this around and go from the opposite direction here, and that's going to do a little bit better job for us. Yeah, there we go. There we go. Now, does this piece have enough stick into it? Yeah, it does. Hey. Hey, good job there, buddy. Perfect. All right, let's get that right up against the edge there. Just adjust that piece. Now it looks like this little guy shifted a bit. Okay, good. Good. Okay. Make sure this is right up against that edge there. Very nice. Very nice. Okie doke. Cool. Oh yeah. And just this little part that I removed here, you can kind of see the line that we've scribed in. That's nice. That's sharp. That's good and sharp. Yeah. All right. Money. All right, cool. So now we've got our other edges. Now the one piece that we're going to have to cut is this piece that goes along this vent here, right? All right, we'll get to that here in a minute, but I want to get these other lines. Actually, well, shit. Now that I think about it. All right, let's go ahead and get that cut because we are going to need that. Okay. All right. Well, here we go. Let's go ahead and do it. Screw it. Right there. Okay. That was the wrong direction for that. The other cool thing is you can use your nippers on this tape as well. You could just literally just use your nippers to cut everything out if you wanted. Alright, there we go. Alrighty. Last little bit in here, get that turned around and get this set in at the proper angle. And also the proper spacing from the vent itself. There we go. Consistent. Good. Well, I'll be honest with you, that's one good thing about having a semi-transparent part. you can see through the damn thing, right? So that's good there too. All right. All right. This little piece is being a butthead. So we're gonna go this way now. We're gonna go counterclockwise as opposed to going clockwise around our piece because this side of the tape is lifting. It just doesn't want to sit there. All right, I'm just right now I got the whole piece laid on the 1, 2, 3 block, and I'm just kind of pressing this tape piece into place with my tweezers and trying to get that adhesion going there. Are we still consistent? A little bit of a shift right there. All right, let's get caught up with the chat real quick. Let's see. Julius says, yeah, it's embossing tape. Oh, nice. Okay. So basically Julius scored a roll of semi-clear Dymo tape that is embossing tape. So that's interesting, right? So I'm going to have to look for that. That sounds pretty damn cool, Julius. So, Dallas has a question.
We have a question.
He says, does anyone know of or have a source for some good 1/100 hands? Some of these master grade hands are terrible, especially on older kits such as the Camphor. Oh yeah, dude, because you got the, let's go back to Camphor 2. Because most of those are the 3-1 configuration, right? So the 3 fingers are one piece, the trigger finger is one piece, and then you got your thumb. So 3-1 configuration, right? So it just does this. Kotobukiya makes a wonderful static hand. And they come in 144 and 1/100. They have a lot more options for 144, but they still have some really good things for 1/100. Let me show you. Let me get these down here real quick, and I'll show you here in a second. Because I've used these on several builds. Used these on the Hummingbird, and also use these on the Blue Destiny, right? So these right here are your more, Gundam style hands. These are more square, you can kind of see. And they have, open hands, which I hardly ever use. But they have both right, where is it? Where am I pointing? There it is. Right and left fist. And then also, basically a trigger, like a gripping hand for a weapon and everything, right? So that comes in 3 styles. You get your, couple sizes of ball joints. You get the cover as well in a few different flavors and styles and stuff. But yeah, this really, really good. Like I said, again, this is the square version. But they also have the rounded fingers for like your Zaku's and stuff like that for your, your Xeon style mobile suits, right? And I clipped these out, but yeah, so here is kind of your open palm 1/100 scale round fingers. Like I said, this is more for like Zaku's and everything, and the detailing is super nice. And it's a good general size. It doesn't work for every single thing because obviously different scales and all. But you've got the same type of configuration. You've got, the open hand, you've got the trigger hand, and then you also have the fist. And I'll kind of show you all of that because it looks like I snapped all these out here. Yeah, so this is the trigger kind of gun holding hand right there, and then you've got the static fist as well. So those are really, really good options. Ayo, Giovanni, look at you being part of the Mecha Army. Welcome, buddy. Welcome. Gio, you get one of these, bud. Hell yeah. That's awesome, bud. Thank you, Gio. I appreciate you, man. I appreciate that. That means a lot. It really does. That means a lot. So, thank you, bud. Thank you. So, alright. So, those are Kotobukiya's offerings, right? Now, Bandai makes, some pretty detailed hands as well. They're quite large for the scale, though, and I'm not a huge fan of Bandai's aftermarket hands. I think the only mobile suits that they would look good on is the much larger ones, like the Sazabi, the O, those types of mobile suits, because they are scaled enormous for, the general size of 1/100. It just, they don't make any sense to me. I don't know why, but yeah, it's one of those things. So Lelouch is with us. He says, afternoon, gents. What's going on, buddy? Let's see. Michael Dawson says, random thought popped in my head. That's always dangerous, Mikey. Has anyone tried converting a master grade double Zeta into a master grade XS? Probably not. I mean, they are completely different, so that would be a huge chore. You're probably better off starting with the XS and modifying that. As many problems as it has, yeah, I would say start with that. But starting with a master grade double Zeta, it's more trouble than it's worth, honestly. So, yeah. Let's see. Kaylee Hernandez, what's going on? Thank you for watching. They say, I'm glad I got in while you're live. Absolutely. Oh, hey-oh. Look at this. We got another one. Sorry, Kaylee. 1 second here. We got Dallas joining the Mecha Army here as well. Officially. Dallas, thank you, buddy. I appreciate you, bud. Here, you get one of these, too. Yes, sir. Very good. Very, very good. Very cool. Man, excellent. Excellent. Thank you, boys. Thank you. I appreciate that. All right, let's get back to Kaylee. They say, I'm glad I got in while you're live. Let's see. I do appreciate Tim has cut and clean fingernails. Sometimes I come across Maulers that have yellow claws. Oh my God. Yeah, well, that's, yeah. So, yeah, I keep them clean. Thank you for noticing. I worry about that simply because, my hands are on camera every single day. So, Kaylee, I appreciate that. I really, really do. They say I'm at work now, but luckily it's slow on base. Nice. That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for hanging out with us. And obviously, thank you for noticing my neat fingernails. Good stuff. Again, Gio is with us here. He says, hello, everyone. Didn't go to work today because my two youngest had a performance at school. Aw, that's awesome. That's awesome, dude. Yeah, Amber's last day of school, and for those of you who don't know, Amber's my daughter. Her last day of high school was on Wednesday. So she is in full-on summer bum mode at this point. And she is loving life. She is out with friends, hanging out at the mall, doing shopping, and yeah, it didn't take her long to transition to summer mode, I'll tell you that. So, yeah, graduation is next Thursday. Woo-hoo. I'm gonna be a mess. I'm gonna be a fucking wreck. It's gonna be so bad. Let's see. And Dallas says, and they are soft, rubbery plastic. Oh, the hands that he has now. Yeah, those are a mess. Yeah. No. Gio says, I sprayed German gray yesterday. After masking for about 3 hours, it came out perfectly, except for one part. Even though the scribing helped for one part, the part is going to be back of the leg. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, I mean, if you mess it up, there's nothing wrong with stripping it and redoing it, Gio. I mean, trust me, I've done that plenty of times in the past. Plenty. More than I can count. Gio says, I'm still having issues. Mike told to get one of those regulation valves. Oh, hell yeah. Okay, if you don't have that, that is important. Yeah. But a lot of air is still coming through the airbrush, trying to train my gorilla hands to go gently on the trigger. So yeah, so basically that's what it's called is it's a regulator, right? And with regulators, you can dial in the pressure that you want. So like for mine, I have a regulator on my compressor, and then I have another one down line that is connected to my actual airbrush, right? So the regulator on the compressor itself, I'll have kind of wide open, not completely because bad, but I'll have it set to maybe like 30, 40 PSI, so way higher than you would need, but not obscenely high, right? And then on the downline regulator, that's where I set my pressure. And since I'm running a siphon feed, I do need a little bit of a higher pressure. I usually run between 15 and 20. And then, you know, since it's downline, since it's right on the side of my spray booth, I can adjust that, you know, at a moment's notice, which is really, really nice. So yeah, the regulators are a crucial part of an airbrush setup. So yeah, dial that pressure in, and then you'll be in good shape. You'll be in good shape. As long as your thinning is good and everything, as long as you're consistent there, you should be able to, you know, set it and forget it most of the time. But if you need to adjust it, yeah. So good. Dallas says, got paid today, so I had to spread the wealth. You're one of the first streamer content creator that I've subscribed to. What? Thank you for everything, brother. Awesome. That's cool, man. Thank you. Dallas, that means a lot, buddy. I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, you know, subscribing to somebody, paying them money is not one of those things that is like, I guess, you know, easy thing to do, you know? So no, trust me, I totally get it. But thank you, man. Thank you. I try to, you know, impart the knowledge as best as possible on here. So yeah, good stuff. Let's see. Where did we leave off? here we go. Geo says, I have a compressor from Harbor Freight, specifically for airbrush. I have it at 5 PSI. If a building catches on fire, I can spray water with the airbrush to turn the fire. 5 PSI. That is, Geo, that's extremely low. That's extremely low. So the best way to set your regulator, have your airbrush at full open, full tilt, like wide open. Obviously don't spray paint through it or anything like that, but have it wide open. Pull the trigger back, have it wide open, hold that there, and then set your regulator, because what'll happen is that needle will fluctuate, simply because of the airbrush being wide open and all. So yeah, hold your airbrush wide open, let it spray, set your regulator, then you're golden. But yeah, dude, 5 PSI is very, very low. Very low. I'm surprised you're getting any throughput of the paint at that point. So just, yeah. Just going off what you wrote, obviously. Yeah. Juno. See, that's what I'm talking about. Margar, what's going on, bud? He says, I think I spray at 15. Yeah, that's pretty average. Pretty average, especially if you're running like a gravity feed or something like that. That is a very, very, common, PSI. And like I said, since I run a siphon feed, I'm kind of a unicorn in that area. I have gravity feed airbrush, but I hardly ever use it. I'm old school. I use siphon feed. I do need a little bit higher PSI, so I usually run 15 to 20, probably around 18-ish, something like that. But yeah, 15 if you're using a gravity feed, yeah, you should have no problems with that. Spot on. Yeah. Gio says, I bought one of those valves that goes on the air hose from the compressor that helps a bit to regulate the air to the airbrush. Gotcha. Does it have an actual dial though, Gio? Because that's important. That's important. He says, I think I got a bad compressor, or the gauge needle doesn't do something. I gotcha. Well, like I said, try to open it up a little bit more, because 5 PSI is very, very low. Like I said, I'm surprised you're actually even shooting paint at that point. So, yeah. Open that bitch up a little bit and see what she does. I would say maybe put it to like 20, 25 PSI, and then start to kind of ratchet down till you find that sweet spot. And that should be between, like Margar said, right around 15 PSI if you're running a gravity feed. That's kind of that happy point, that Goldilocks. Yeah, he says, yeah, I can regulate with the valve on the air compressor. I gotcha. Briggsy says, might want to start a Patreon, just an idea. I already have a Patreon, Briggsy. So, great minds, buddy. Great minds. And always Briggsy coming in clutch with the ideas, too. I love that. Fucking love that. But, I need to overhaul my Patreon, honestly. I'm going to probably kick myself in the ass for saying this, but I would not sign up for Patreon as it stands right now. Like I said, I need to overhaul that thing. I haven't touched it in God knows how long. So I have a Patreon, and I need to update it. And I need to show it love, and I need to show it consistent love. I need to be married to Patreon. Yeah. Because, Patreon is just your G-rated OnlyFans anyway, so. Anyway, Gio says, yeah, I can regulate with the valve on the air compressor. Yeah. He says, if I do 20 psi, so much air comes out, I think I can operate heavy air tools. Really? Gio, do me a favor, bud. Do me a favor. I want you to take a picture of the regulator on the compressor itself. Do that for us, post it in the community so we can kind of see what you're working with. That way, you know, we can kind of have a better understanding of what you're seeing, right? Because, yeah, 20 psi, it may feel and sound like a lot of air coming through, but honestly, you know, like I said, I'm running a siphon feed again, so I need that higher PSI to, you know, siphon the paint up through the jar and all that. But yeah, take a picture for us, post it in the YouTube community. We'll take a look either, you know, later. Well, we don't have much time on this stream, but we might be able to take a look at it later, or maybe tonight, on tonight's stream or something. Yeah. That way we can kind of help you dial it in a little bit better, because like I said, 5 psi, just I would be shocked if you have paint coming through that. And I think the other thing to think about is what's your thinning like too, with like the paint and all that, right? How thin of a paint are we talking? Do you thin it yourself? Do you get pre-thinned? All that good stuff. That's all really, really good to know. So, yeah. Let us know all those lovely, lovely details. Charles says to Throx, sorry about that. I was trying to scroll down. I accidentally pushed the ban button. Oh, dude. Oh, shit. Charles, you're killing me, bud. You're killing me. It's all good. It happens, though. It happens. Juno says something ain't adding up with Gio's setup. Yeah, 5 psi is like splatter and 20 shouldn't be crazy. True. But Charles has a great question here. He says, are you sure you're not reading the bar scale? Yeah, because there's bar and then there's psi, and that's usually, they usually come on, you know, all regulators at that point. So, you know, that's a great suggestion, Charles. That's a great suggestion. Gio says, Mr. Color, I thin 50-50. Okay. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty standard. So, I mean, that should get you probably about the consistency of milk. So, yeah. Thinning sounds on point. Yeah. Gio, get us some pictures of your setup. The regulator especially, get a nice close-up of the regulator dial. And then include some other pictures of what you got there, too, in terms of that inline regulator. Get some pictures of that, and then also like your compressor too, and see what's what. Now, I know you said you got it at Harbor Freight. That's awesome, because you can just, if it is a bad compressor, you can take that thing back there. They'll swap it out pretty much no questions asked. That's actually a really good thing about Harbor Freight. So, yeah. All right. Anywho. Oh, look at that. There's a strip of tape down there. All right, good to know. Anywho, let's get back to this. We got 20 minutes. Let's circle back. Let's pull it back, yeah? Super zoom. There we go. There we go. All right. So, this little bastard. This, while we were talking, this little piece of tape came up again. So, press this back down. It actually stayed down pretty good. So, we only need it temporarily here. So, let's kind of get this done, and then we can peel that tape off. Oh, see, there he goes. You little shit. And this was a fresh piece of tape too. This wasn't like a restick or anything. Actually, I think what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to relieve some of the pressure on the tape here just by just cutting that little corner off so it doesn't overlap. That way it can sit right on the piece and adhere to it. Now, let's make sure I didn't shift that piece there. Consistent there. All right, so now we should be in business here. Get off of there. All right. Good deal. My cat is right outside my door meowing, and I can hear her. Okay. All right, that little piece still wants to pop up, but we're not going to let it. Okay. Get that corner nice and clean. Get the debris out of there. Come on, stick. There we go. Okay. Now at this angle, I can hold this piece of tape in place, but we're basically coming up and over this ridge here in the armor, which we have to be super careful about, right? This ridge right here that runs along right there at that corner, because if you're not super careful, especially at that top, your chisel could have it could jump out of the line and scratch the rest of the piece, which we definitely don't want to have happen. That would be bad. All right, I think we're in good shape for this piece of tape, because it does not want to stay down. Okay. Neither does this piece right here. Okay. Yeah, this whole design of this shoulder piece is problematic to this process. Now, yes, I am pushing into this line. Don't do this. The reason why I'm doing this is trying to get a nice straight line. There we go. Now we're cooking. Now we're cooking. Perfect. All right. So let's get this piece of tape off of there. Let's get this piece of tape off of there. We can remove this one as well. Nice. And it's starting to reveal our design, and this is looking much improved. Okay. We've got our edges set. Now we just need to get these lines to depth, right? All right. So now these last two upper lines here, these are a bit hairy. Let's make sure that these are at the edge, and then also try and press them down. What I might do, I'm going to get rid of this piece here. Because that was being problematic. Man, nothing wants to stick right here in this inner corner. And it's probably the combination of angles and everything here. And overlaps and all that. Like I said, problematic. But we'll get it. We'll get it. We just got to keep working the problem here. Good. All right, so now that this is in place, let's get it shifted. Damn it. Come on. There we go. All right. Let's be real light with this pressure here. Yeah, this piece is shifting every single pass. But, you know, we're getting a straight line. That's the important part. We just need it to hold on just for those few passes, right? All right. All right, that looks pretty good. That's fairly nice and straight. Yeah, that's good. All right, cool. Whew. So, kind of touch and go there. All right, now the ever important top little bitty line. We're gonna take this big guy off of here. Get him out of the way as I drop the piece. And we're going to get this piece off of there. And now we can just focus on this little guy and connect these other two lines here. And this shouldn't be too bad. Famous last words, right? Right there. Okay. Alright, nice and slow. Set the line. Patience. We cannot hurry this portion because we've done so much work on this shoulder already. Last thing I want to do is fuck this up at the last line. Alright. Okay. So now, get that final piece off of there. And let's inspect this thing. That, man, okay, that looks pretty damn good. Just need to get this line right here straightened out and connected. Alright. Get that corner nice and sharp here. Alright, good deal. And then what we'll do is we'll come back in, sand everything down to kind of reveal the line itself, unobstructed, without the pencil graphite and everything. And any tape residue and all that. But let's get these lines passed through one more time before we go about that here. I just want to make sure everything is at a good depth so we don't sand any lines down. Not that we're going to be doing that much sanding anyways, but still. All right. This is looking real nice. This is looking real nice. Little shit lines right here. Okay. Very good. All right. Now the long line here. Very good. Clean up this last corner. Yeah. All right. Woo! Holy crap. There we go. That, yeah, that was an ordeal. All right. Let's get all the debris out of here as much as possible. And we'll have to do this a second time once we sand this down. All right. Just really high grit sandpaper just to kind of clean everything up here. Okay. And you can kind of see the sanding dust that gets into the lines actually helps to kind of reveal the line as well. Okay, let's get all that out of there. Nice. Okay. Very nice. Very nice. Okay, so let's hang tight. Let me get these little pieces of tape off of here and thrown away so they don't accumulate. All right, let's go let's go mega zoom. Yeah, here we go. All right. So here's our part, right? Let's see if we can get this in a position where you can actually see it, because this, like I said, this is a bit transparent now that we've stripped the gold off here. Shit, and I can't grip it with those tweezers. Anyway, all right, my big old fingers are going to be in the way. So, but you can kind of see there, especially at the bottom. Yeah, that looks nice and clean. Oh, there we go. Now we're kind of getting the shadow and highlights on there on the side. Up along the top, that looks pretty good. So the one thing that you have to keep in mind, where's my pointer? Because I noticed this as I was doing it. This line up here, right? There's a shift in angle. There's an angle separation right here. It looks like the line's not straight on camera, right? It looks like it's kind of, you know, curving, like a little derpy there. But actually what it's doing is it's going over this this angle, a different angle there. There you go. You can see the difference. If I block the light a little bit, you can see the angle change, the surface, right? And now that line looks better. So that's good. And then let's see over here on that vent. That looks pretty good there. I like that. That's very nice. Yeah. All right. Good stuff, kids. Good stuff. I like it. I like it. This looks really good. This looks really good. Now, one thing that now that I'm seeing on here, what I might do, I might come back and fix this little down line right here. Extend this down into this line, extend this line down a little bit, and then bring it down. Because so like what I'll do is, yeah, kind of bring that down into the part a little bit more, right? Yeah, I think that down line is just a little high, a little close to the vent. So, yeah, I'll do that later. But basically all you got to do is just fill in that line with a little drop of super glue, shave it off, sand it, good as new. You never know it's there. You know, never know it's there. So, all right, let's get caught up. Let's go back camera one, because it's, what, 2:01 now? Jeez. So that took the whole damn stream, which was not surprising, because it's a time sink. Let's see, Kaylee over there on YouTube. Are the Black Widow airbrushes good from Harbor Freight? I've only used H&S. Oh, shit. I mean, if you've got an H&S, I mean, how is anything going to compare at that point, you know? But I've only heard good things about the Black Widow line of products, actually. So, mind you, I've never tried them myself, but I've heard they're pretty good. The only downside is that you can't get spare parts, you know, where, you know, pretty much every other airbrush manufacturer sells like spare parts, like different, you know, nozzles and O-rings, and levers, pin, you know, all of that, needles and everything. The Black Widow line does not offer that. Now, mind you, you know, if the thing breaks down, just take it back to Harbor Freight, they'll replace it. But still, I'd like to be able to have those spare parts. Chances are you're not going to need them, but having them there is good. You know what I mean? Having them there is good. So, just saying. But yeah, I've heard good things about the Harbor Freight stuff. I've heard good things. Let's see. Juno says, I've never used them, but when I was first starting, I got the G223 Master brush from Amazon. Super cheap and not hard to understand with breakdown to clean. Yeah. What is it? Black Widow. That's the Harbor Freight's kind of, you know, top tier brand. And they're actually really cool looking. You know, these matte black airbrushes and everything. I think they're pretty badass, you know, with a spider on the side and all of that. Yeah, I think they're pretty freaking cool. But yeah, I don't think that they sell spare parts. That's the only downside. So, be that as it may. Kaylee says, yeah, when I first started, I used to use Madhouse. Okay. They say, I love my H&S, the airbrush line. Oh, I mean, yeah, that's like, H&S is like top tier. Expensive, but yeah, really, really good quality. Really good quality. Juno says, kids don't do this, but watch me do it. I know, I'm a hypocrite. But this is the thing. Like, I've been scribing, for how long? Over a decade at this point. So, yes, I have built up, especially the dexterity in my hands, to know the limitations, especially of the chisel discipline, kids, by the way. So I know the limitations of the chisels and also the plastic that I'm working with. I know kind of how far to push it. So yes, I know how that looks. But it's one of those do as I say, not as I do types of things until you work up to the point to where you know for certain you can do it. It is not a beginner thing. So, yeah. Shrewd Dude over there on Twitch. What's going on, bud? He says, hey, apologies if this has been asked before, but what scribes are you using? Excellent question. Let me show you. For the most part, I use good old BMC, Sujiborido, by their Japanese name. And I have a ton of them that I've, you know, gotten and bought over the years. Be good if you could actually see, right? But yeah, these are BMC Sujiborido. You used to be able to buy them pretty commonly on Japanese hobby websites and stuff like that. You know, Hobby Search, sometimes Hobby Japan. But Hobby Search is the one where I got most of these. And these are top tier. Better than anything on the market at this point. The reason being, let me see if I have a... Yeah, okay, so here. This, I don't know how I came about this, but I got a spare 1.5, and it's, you know, obviously still in packaging and everything, and that's what it looks like. You know, full Japanese BMC right there, you know. But The reason why I like these is because this is what's called flat bar stock, and this this is another brand. This is by Kaizo, and you can see they also employ the flat bar stock method, right? I like flat bar stock as opposed to like the blade style from Madworks or the round bar stock. I find that the grind on the chisel part itself is much finer and much more accurate with a flat bar stock, simply because you can register that very easily, as opposed to like a round bar stock where it could have a tendency to shift or turn, in the grinding mechanism. So I like the flat bar stock way better. And like I said, the BMC is God. Like, it's if you're ranking them, this is so beyond S tier, it's not even funny. These are top of the line. Top of the line. They are not cheap, though. They are not cheap. And they are now increasingly hard to find because the company, Tsujiborido, had real financial problems through COVID. They are a very small company, and they struggled mightily. So they actually had to shift production to a round bar stock. Now they still make the flat bar, but in much lower quantities, unfortunately. So I hold on to mine, and I will also resharpen these from time to time. I actually have one of these guys. This is just a little sharpening jig. This is by a company called Harp. Yeah, there you go. And you can get this thing on Temu for like $12-15, right? So this is not, this thing is not hard to procure, and it's not special. At the time it was, because they were the only company back then, to make this type of thing. But now more companies are kind of making their own versions, and it's basically identical to this. And with this, you can put an angle on, on this and turn the holder and everything. But I just obviously keep it at a straight 90. But I'll resharpen my chisels from time to time and kind of treat them right and everything, take care of them. And yeah, BMC, that's basically all I use. Now I do use the Kaizo brand too. These I got from shit, what's the name of the store? Somebody in the chat help me. Somebody in the chat help me. Who sells Kaizo in the US? Shit, I cannot for the life of me remember the name of the store. But they are also kind of low on stock or out of stock from Robot Kai. Thank you, Julius. Robot Kai. They sell the Kaizo brand here in the States. They are hard to get at this point. I think most of their chisels are out of stock. Mind you, I've never tried Dispaye chisels, but I've only heard good things, and I think those are flat bar stock as well. So that's, something to keep in mind as well. But man, if money's not an option and you can hunt for them, BMCs are the way to go. They are so beyond, like I said, S tier, just on another level. Let's put it that way, on another level. Oh man, Napta say, I did not get a notification from Twitch. Well, shit, he used his Prime sub. God damn it. All right, Nap, here. Sorry for being late to the party, but you get one of these, buddy. I thought I had my notifications locked in on for Twitch, but I guess not. Well, that sucks. Sorry about that, dude. But thank you. Welcome to the Mecha Army. Appreciate it. Let's see. Julia says, this might be my last stream for a few weeks. Aw, taking a trip to Australia. So if you all miss me, I will return. Man, Australia? Julius? You're going to Australia without us? Man, take us with you, bud. Come on now. But dude, have fun, man. That's a trip. I was thinking about going to Australia for their GBWC to kind of support those guys down there back, obviously before COVID and everything. And I priced out and planned the trip and everything just to see. From Baltimore, I would literally be traveling 24 hours before I got to my destination there in Sydney. I was just like, my God, literally on the other side of the world. That's crazy, man. Crazy. But dude, have a wonderful time, man. That is awesome. I really hope you have, good times. If you get a chance, man, pop on your phone, take some pictures for us, post them in the YouTube community or something. But yeah, brother, have a great time. Have a great time. We will miss you. So that's awesome. Kaylee says, I do like to have spares too. I have different size needles for mine. Yeah. Oh, going back to the Black Widow. Yeah. The look is what had me. Yeah. Right. It's so badass. The matte black, Black Widow airbrushes from Harbor Freight. They're fucking cool. Right. I have to admit, they knocked it out of the park with the look, anyway. Kaylee says, what brand of... Oh, look at that. Great minds think alike. I already answered that. So, but yeah. So, Kaylee, thank you for your question. But yeah. BMC. BMC chisels. Definitely the way to go. Dallas says, I have a Badger Patriot airbrush that I bought from Zach to where you... What? LOL, did not mean to add the stuff after Zach. Oh, okay, good job. Let's see, Mark R, he says, for what it's worth, I like my MadWorks airbrush. I use that in a cheap Iwata Neo. Yeah, see that, and that's Iwata Neo. God, those little things, man, those are great. They're great beginner airbrushes. They're also great, complementary airbrushes too. I use an Iwata Eclipse siphon feed. That's been my standard for 20 plus years at this point. You can't go wrong with Iwata, but I've heard good things about MadWorks. I've also heard really good things about Mr. Hobby, the Procon boys. Heard nothing but good things about them as well. So, yeah, those are really, really good. Kelly says, that's the correct name of the one I had, MadWorks. There you go. Okay. I'm going to Japan for work in August. Going to be on the lookout for supplies. Oh, yeah. So, if you're in Tokyo, now, Odaiba is the island... where Gundam base is. It's the Diver City Mall, the big Gundam, and you're going there just in time to catch the unicorn before it goes away too, because it's getting taken down, I think, at the end of August. So you might be lucking out at that point. But Odaiba is kind of the touristy section. Akihabara, that's where you want to go for the hobby shops and stuff like that. Yeah, and you'll have to search, and it's obviously I haven't been there since 2019, so a lot of stuff has changed. The one hobby shop that I would always go to for tools and stuff is no longer there, unfortunately. Yeah, you'll have pick of the litter. You got, Yellow Submarine, you've got Anime Jungle, you've got what is it? Yodobashi, Bic camera. The Yodobashi and Bic are both camera stores, but they're really department stores that have amazing model selections and tools and stuff. So I mean, you kind of got your pick of the litter there as well. But don't sleep on some of the kind of smaller mom and pop shops. Sometimes they have a wonderful selection of tools. But yeah, if you can find, and there's the BMC packaging. I'm not sure if this has changed at all, but this is definitely what you want, the Tsujiborido. So nice. I'm envious. I want to go back to Japan so bad. It's not even funny. Enrico says, I have only one because I bought it when I was in high school, back when I was more active in the community. I gotcha. He says in high school means can't afford more than 2 to 3 BMCs. Now I can afford that. I'll just get a few more if I find them. See, there you go. And Enrico says, you'll be welcome in the Southern Hemisphere, gang. Julius, there you go. Nice. Well, good stuff. All right, you kids. Good stream. Started off a little hinky with me being late and everything. Sorry, about all that, but we turned it around. Hell yeah. Oh, there you go, Julius. Mecha Army Japan trip 2029 for the 50th anniversary. Oh, that would be the dream, right? That would be so cool. Let's see. Kaylee says, awesome. Thanks, Tim, for the recommendations. My absolute pleasure. Yeah, Enrico's like, sign me up. Oh, hell yeah, dude. That would be awesome, right? That would be so much fun. All right, kids, let's switch to camera 1. There we go. All right, so with that being said, you guys, I will be back tonight. 10 p.m. Eastern U.S. time for the next stream. Come on back for that. We're going to continue to work on the shoulder piece. Did I lose it? No, it's over there. Okay. Jesus. We're going to continue to work on that. We're going to put in the micro panels. I'll show you how to do that and all that fun stuff. But yeah, come on back tonight. But between now and then, have a wonderful rest of your day. Go build something cool. And yeah, just be safe out there, you guys. I'll talk to you.